America's television industry had developed by the 1960s as visual technology rapidly improved. By the middle of the 1960s, dim, in living color, shows that were created as kinescopes in the 1950s had given way to vibrant, in color, shows. The sheer quantity of shows increased. Situation comedies thrived on original ideas and plot lines. Fantasy and Western television shows become far less predictable. Police procedural and medical drama writers convincingly handled important societal issues. These programs were enjoyed by millions of Americans. Ad revenue increased dramatically as a result. Broadcast networks at the national level and television production firms were wealthy. They were able to spend actual money to entice the top screenwriters, actors, and directors. They also didn't ignore music. Teams of really talented songwriters and arrangers were formed by businesses. The development and playing of TV theme songs as a result saw an astounding outpouring of musical talent. Some songs achieved such extreme popularity that they topped the pop charts. Older people instantly identify these songs when they hear the first few notes of one of them today and reminisce warmly about their favorite childhood TV program. So relax and take in the top 10 TV theme music from the 1960s as we travel back in time. Number 10. Mr. Ed 1961-1966 theme for the opening and closing, with snippet, in Mr. Ed, Alan Lane voices a talking, wisecracking Palomino who pulls practical jokes on people. His kind-hearted, clumsy owner is Wilbur Post, played by Alan Young. Mr. Ed could only be heard by Wilbur. The fact that Wilbur's wife thought her husband spent more time with the horse than she did made her feel belittled. Based on tales by children's author Walter R. Brooks that appeared in publications in the 1930s and 1940s, this light-hearted modern fantasy was created. The horse opens his stall and says, "Hello," in a beautiful bass tone just before the song starts. Mr. Ed here. A horse is a horse, of course, says the first line. The trotting horse's beat serves as the foundation for this composition. The song was written by the renowned songwriting duo Ray Evans and Jay Livingston. The song was recorded as a demo by Livingston, who sang it in a calm pop song manner. He believed that it would be polished further by hiring a professional singer. However, the song was never re-recorded for the program since the producer preferred Livingstone's rendition so much. A preacher in 1986 stated that when he played the song backward, he could hear satanic messages, which was shocking for such a sweet-tempered event. Teenage fans burned copies of the audio recordings. The recording was examined by others. Thank God no evidence of a hidden message in the song has ever been discovered. Number 9. The opening and closing themes for I Dream of Jeannie from 1965 to 1970, with intro, in a different modern fantasy, Larry Hagman portrayed Captain Tony Nelson, an astronaut who was surprised and perplexed, while Barbara Eden played a stunning genie. The song, Jeannie with the Light Brown Hair, by Stephen Foster is referenced in the show's title. A straightforward waltz instrumental by Richard Wes was used to open the first few episodes of the first season. This tune was used to accompany Friz Freleng's animation of Jeannie dancing and the bottle releasing the names of the actors into the air. In a playful homage to fairy tales, Paul Frees introduced episodes 2 through 8 of that season by stating that Tony Nelson lived in a fictitious town named Cocoa Beach in a mythical state called Florida. The show required a new theme music, according to producer Sidney Sheldon. The enduring samba was written by Hugo Montenegro and Buddy Kaye for seasons 2 through 5. A new animation was created for the credits. Tony's spacecraft is seen splashing down not far from the beach where Jeannie's bottle had been unopened for 2,000 years. As soon as he cracks open the bottle, smoke emerges and transforms into the dancing genie. Number 8. Theme song and opening and closing credits for Get Smart 1965. In the middle of the 1960s, Inspector Clouseau and James Bond were hugely popular. Dan Melnick, a producer, believed it was about time he made a parody of spy movies for television. Mel Brooks agreed to serve as project manager. Later, he would utilize his money to pay for the producers, his debut film. Mel engaged Buck Henry to put his inventions, like the shoe phone and the cone of silence, on paper. After the pilot episode, Buck was promoted to lead writer and rewrote each script to achieve the ideal characterizations and tone. Don Adams agreed to participate after learning who created the scripts. He had served as a combat marine in the South Pacific during World War II before transitioning into the role of drill instructor. But with his stiff intonations and goofy pieces, like the well-known running joke, "Would you believe," he handled the humor brilliantly. The military march-style instrumental theme song has trumpets authoritatively blaring the first 4 notes of each melodic line. Fans never lost sight of those messages. Maxwell Smart would advance farther inside the control headquarters, each pair of enormous security doors slamming shut behind him with a drum-like sound. During this bit of spy humor, the opening credits rolled. Brother of renowned comedian Bill Dana, Irving Sith Marie, who also directed and composed the song. The spy spoof's premise was brilliantly complemented by the theme music. At the conclusion of the song, Smart was meant to disappear from view in the phone booth, revealing the existence of a hidden elevator. But behind a darkened panel, Don Adams did nothing more than rapidly fall to his knees. Number 7. Theme from vintage TV's Bewitched 1964. Elizabeth Montgomery plays Samantha, a witch who marries Darren, a mortal, who is first portrayed by Dick York and then by Dick Sargent. Poor Darren has odd in-law issues with Samantha's mother Endora, who is portrayed by Agnes Moorehead. Endora is determined to dissolve Samantha's marriage since she despises the fact that she wed a mortal. Morris, Samantha's father, occasionally makes an appearance as well. He rambles on about his passion for the performing arts and how he knew Shakespeare personally. Bewitched at the time generated some controversy. It was the first TV program where a couple slept together. Frank Sinatra's Witchcraft was supposed to be the show's theme music, but the producers refused to pay royalties. So they made the choice to play Bewitched. The words, which were written by Howard Greenfield and Jack Keller, were not included in the theme song version. The light orchestral arrangement of the song with plenty of bells was created by Warren Barker. In the starry sky above the city, we see an animated Samantha flying a broomstick that spells out the phrase bewitched. The upbeat tune features a xylophone to go along with Samantha's well-known nose twitch, which she uses to cast spells. The program itself used the same sound effect. Number 6. Theme song and opening and closing credits for Season 2 of Gilligan's Island 1964. A storm abruptly ends Clutzy Gilligan and his irate skipper's 3-hour tour of 5 tourists they are taking from a tropical port. This is how The Ballad of Gilligan's Island, a fantastic premise song, describes how these 7 individuals ended themselves living on a barren island. This fantastic theme song was written by Sherwood Schwartz and George Weil in the style of an ancient sea shanty. Here's an interesting fact about the lyrics. Near the song's conclusion, Bob Denver, who played Gilligan, voiced his displeasure with the way the characters were listed. Names or descriptions are given for the first 5 characters, Gilligan, the skipper, as well as the millionaire and his actress wife. In order to give everyone equal attention, Denver ordered the authors to change, and the others, to the Professor and Mary Ann, in the 2nd season of the program. Number 5. Theme song and opening and closing credits for the Jetsons Season 1. The first 4 notes of the vocals in Meet George Jetson, a song by Hoyt Curtin, became so recognizable that they were used as a doorbell chime. It's a cheery, upbeat song. The melody might have been taken from any 1960s situation comedy, with the exception of the opening, when strings play a gosh. Wow. Futuristic theme as the animation depicts the cosmos and eventually Earth. As George drives his flying car to drop off his wife and kids at their schools and a shopping mall during the song, we see and hear the family members being introduced. Near the end of the song, a few keyboard measures of chopsticks bring some melodic humor. George pulls up to Spacely Sprockets, where his boss was probably waiting expectantly for him, folds his automobile into a briefcase, rides a conveyor belt, sits down, and raises his legs on the desk. Mel Blanc, the greatest humorous voice in animation history, provided the voice of Mr. Spacely. The future of the Jetsons is now swiftly approaching us in the 21st century. George Jetson was born on July 31, 2022, say ardent supporters. Given that the early 1960s in the program were 100 years in the past, George would have been a middle-aged father by this birth date. Even though it was a cartoon, historian Matt Novak views the program as the most significant future vision in 20th century popular culture. Space colonization needs to be accepted as true. This was never questioned in the episode. Number 4.1962-1971 HD. The Beverly Hillbillies opening and closing theme. Another excellent TV theme song to explain the idea is The Ballad of Jed Clampett. How did a redneck relocate his family to a Beverly Hills mansion? Well, Old Uncle Jed was shooting at some meal when up sprang a bubbling crude from the earth. Yes, he hit oil-rich ground. California is the place you're out to be, stated kinfolk. He then relocated with his family. A cultural confrontation subsequently followed. No one ever forgot the definitions of black gold and Texas tea as a result of this song. Paul Henning's country western influenced tune was performed by the outstanding bluegrass group Flat and Scruggs. It rose to the top of the country music charts in number 3. Theme song and opening credits for The Addams Family 1964. The oddest show on TV at the time was a comically creepy family. Nothing like that has ever been witnessed before. Children enjoyed the antics of the large family, which also included a witch, Frankenstein's monster, Morticia, 2 strange kids, Cousin It, Kitty Cat, a pet lion, and a disembodied hand thing. Gomez Addams, the practically typical patriarch, was portrayed by John Aston. The family's self-delusion that they were completely normal in comparison to the rest of the world was the source of the humor. Conflicts across cultures occurred every week when people came to see M. The drawings used in the show were created by Charles Addams, who sadly had difficulties getting his cartoons published following the presentation. The renowned opening of the theme music has 2 finger snaps followed by a harpsichord playing 4 notes constantly. This musical signature is so distinctive that it is still played by organists at Major League Baseball games today. The lyrics, they're creepy, and they're kooky, mysterious and frightening, they're altogether ooky, the Addams Family, have 3 rhyming words each line. Ted Cassidy insisted that his role would have to speak, even though the creators had intended to make the butler character Lurch constantly mute. He then uttered the infamous growl, "You rang." Cassidy was allowed to contribute to the theme song in full Lurch form, voicing 3 other characters' amusingly terse and inaccurate descriptions as sweet, neat, petite. It was written and orchestrated by seasoned TV composer Vic Mizzy, who finally became a musical legend. Number 2. Every classic opening credits intro for Hawaii Five-0. Paramount Plus 1968 TV commentators hailed this program as the pinnacle of police procedurals. It was visually pleasing because of the peculiar environment in Hawaii. Captain Steve McGarrett, played by Jack Lord, was the firm captain of the 5-0 unit. The task force's name was inspired by Hawaii's historical position as the 50th state of the Union. The Ventures, arguably the greatest instrumental rock band ever, provided the theme tune, an instrumental by Morton Stevens. In 1968, the song peaked at number 4 on the Billboard charts and became a massive radio smash. It's a fast-paced song that sounds like surfing music from the time and is ideal for fostering adventure in Hawaii. As the music starts, we can see the large wave curling in. Then, we see the team members, including Chin Ho and Kono, as well as the locations and inhabitants of Hawaii. At various points, Bill Murray, Don Ho, and Sammy Davis Jr. all gave the song vocal performances. When the case was resolved at the end of the hour, McGarrett instructed James MacArthur's Detective Sergeant Danny Williams to book M. Dano. It became so well known that comedians parodied it and other TV police procedurals used it as a model. Number 1. The Mission, Impossible theme and opening titles 1966. This masterfully produced program was the pinnacle of Cold War-era drama. The Impossible Missions Force would plan and execute complex schemes to thwart the bad guys, both home and foreign. As force members carried out the duties under difficult circumstances, minutes would frequently pass without any spoken exchanges. Unusual camera perspectives, taken from filmmakers, would heighten the tension. The leader of the IM force in the first season was Dan Briggs, who was portrayed by actor Stephen Hill. For the remainder of the course of the show, Jim Phelps' leadership was replaced by Peter Graves, the brother of the much more well-known actor James Arness. The best TV theme music ever may have come with Mission Impossible. It's impossible to forget the melody. It was performed by a full orchestra with bongos to add some energy. Lalo Schifrin composed it as an instrumental in an unusual 5/4 time. A flute's quick tooting signals the start of the piece. It ignites like a fuse. As the fuse ignites, the recognizable tune is played by violins. A fantastic adventure is hinted at in both the song and the animation. Rumors that the filmmakers were opposed to using the TV theme tune surfaced when it was revealed that Tom Cruise will star in the first Mission Impossible film. They swiftly changed their ideas in response to fan outcry. The fact that crews favored the song didn't harm.